Undoubtedly one of the best motors I've ever owned. Production 351 junkyard block out of a 93 van, 408 stroker. Had a little bit of an issue with it recently here on the channel. We broke some shit inside. Today's video, we're gonna crack it open and see exactly what we broke. But first, let me get you guys caught up. Yep, that's not good. This is a production 351 block stroke to a 408. Actually, it's a 410. Had a turbo kit installed on it. Made about 850 horsepower, 1,000 torque to the wheels. AFR 205 heads, which we recently updated with titanium parts. Trick flow box R intake, zero balance, custom cam. A lot of good stuff that went into the engine. This engine was actually boosted many years ago as a stock bottom end 351 first, and at this point, it's probably time to just refresh it. Back about a month ago, we added a dual stage boost controller, testing its functionality on the dyno. We were also testing its functionality at the track. Unfortunately, when we actually hit the button at the track past the 8th mile, the motor just shut off and we came to a stop. And it didn't sound good. At that point, we got into panic mode because we had NMRA, we had a big race coming up. We had a mad rush to get the 363 and a new turbo kit in the white car. We kind of ignored this for a while because I wanted to make this video of us taking it apart. So you're gonna see it firsthand, what we actually broke in the motor, and we're going to get this motor back up and running probably before the snow falls. Or at least back up and ready to put back in the white car. 363 was only temporary to begin with. I know it's a little bit confusing out here on the channel. I appreciate you guys for following along and the support that you've had with me in the channel. And we'll make a game plan right now about breaking the engine down. So here's the plan for the video. We're gonna get the intake off and leave the rails there. We're gonna take the top end off with the heads that we just put on the engine. We're gonna take the whole front off and check the timing chain and check the parts in the front because I think that's where our issue was. Because remember, this engine ate a belt through the turbo. It's been through God only knows how many passes at the track, probably 200 plus in 3.5 years. And remember, it was boosted before. Let's get some wrenches out and start wrenching on it and start taking it apart. So we're gonna go ahead and let the oil drain and continue to drain so we don't make such a mess. You can see how much the oil pan is, like the welds and stuff, it's cracked. It's been years and those damn oil pans kind of suck because they end up leaking eventually. But I'll put you on a couple time lapses with this videos for time's sake. We're gonna take the whole intake off, put it over on our table, start taking out the rockers. You're gonna see me do that. Push rods, and then we're gonna start cracking these heads off because the cylinder heads are gonna kind of tell a story as well. And it's gonna be super interesting to see what those look like. Well, that's definitely a good start. I had you on the helmet cam there when we were taking off the intake. These are the trick flow. These are the short throw Morel lifters that we talked about in the channel before. And it doesn't really look like any of the push rods are bent, but that doesn't mean they aren't. So it doesn't look like there's any catastrophic damage here, but we haven't figured it out just yet. So next we're gonna go ahead and take all the rockers off and take all the push rods out and release the tension on some of these springs. And we're gonna take each cylinder off. I'll put you on time lapse, put you on the other cam, get these cylinder heads off to see what it looks like underneath. Okay, so we got all the rockers off the passenger side head. General rule of thumb, you can tell if a push rod is bent just be kind of like rolling it on a flat surface. And this is kind of impressive because I don't really see anything like really out of the ordinary that's bent, which kind of surprises the hell out of me. If your push rods are bent, it's gonna flop around. It's an 80 thousandths wall and it's 7.605. All right, so let's find out what the cylinder head looks like underneath. Okay, so here is the moment of truth for this cylinder head. Really? Oh yeah. Yeah, see it? This one. This one. Banging the valves off the pistons. That's what it looks like, at least. Yep, look right there at the top. Not too bad though. I wouldn't think. What do you guys think? Guess we really don't know until we like tear into the block, but that doesn't look terrible. Probably bent. Now, I'm no professional machinist. I don't see any major damage at all here on the pistons. Show a little bit of a witness mark there from maybe where a valve had touched. But like I had mentioned here just a second ago, they're all gonna have to be checked, especially the exhaust valves. It doesn't look terrible. Regardless, the motor needs refreshed. We've been beating the shit out of this motor for about 3.5 years. So we'll talk about that later on what we're actually gonna do with the engine. Let's get the other side off, kind of skip the time lapses or whatever. We're gonna go through the same things you just seen. And I'll bring you right up to date with the cylinder head, me pulling that cylinder head off and checking the push rod. So. Okay, so we got all the hardware off the heads. We're about to pull them off the block. One thing I did want to mention is number one's exhaust valve. Like as soon as I started releasing the tension with the rocker, it went pop. So be interested to see. Push rod wasn't bent though. All the push rods were pretty straight like the other set was. So now it's time to pull this cylinder head off and see what it looks like. Yep, that's not good. Well, looks like we did catch a little bit of a piston right there. And you can see it here on number 5 cylinder too. Might be bent, probably is bent. Didn't really see anything else touch outside of this exhaust valve right here on number 8, which is back here. You can see right there, it touched straight on the tip, right there. Not too shabby. Hey, you can see my ring gap there still. Look. So most likely these cylinder heads are fine. Gonna have some valves that we're gonna have to replace. The exhaust ones were like 35 to 40 bucks a piece, and these other ones, the intake ones, were about 20 a piece. I did spend a lot of money on these cylinder heads, and it was very recent, as you've seen on the channel. 255, 500 seat open, close, and a lot of titanium retainer stuff. So definitely gonna need some work to get cleaned up a little bit. But the plans are to send the pistons off and have them coated, re-hone it, and put new rings in it. And with the coatings on the pistons, it's what we did to the 363 a couple of years ago. Probably end up switching out the Morel lifters. But the dying question that I actually have about this whole build right now, what happened to cause the damage? We're gonna get this timing chain cover off and we're gonna look behind it and see what happened, and then we'll wrap this video up. But not too bad so far. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. We're gonna get some tools out, put you on a little bit of a time lapse. I wanna get this front timing chain cover off and see what actually damaged the motor at the track. So stick around, let's get the rest of the tools off and get the rest of this motor apart. Well, this is one thing that I had possibly thought was a problem, was the key on the crankshaft, but it looks like the key is fine. Doesn't look like it's sheared, but we don't really know until we actually get this timing chain cover off. Yep, just as I thought. So that's definitely one of the nice things about a Ford motor is you don't have to take the oil pan off to get to the timing chain cover. But you can see how much slop is in this chain. This is what happens when you beat the shit out of it for so many years. But honestly, it's probably this key right here, this dowel. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and zip that off the camshaft real quick. Probably what we broke. And this being so sloppy probably didn't help the... That's exactly what happened. Sheared the camshaft dowel. So right here it is. There's your damage. This is what happened. Ain't that a bitch? Look at that thing. So for you guys that don't know what this is a dowel pin that lines up your timing chain and lines up the crank and puts the valve train in time. And this pin goes into the timing chain like so. This timing chain was probably pretty beat up and loose. Went into like more boost, went up 100 or 150 horsepower. It just put so much shock load on the engine that it just sheared the pin on the gear. And what happens in this event, the cam stops moving, but the motor is still moving because of the driveline, and it brings the pistons up and the valves are hanging open because they're not moving from the lifters. Or that's where you get damage on your valves, because the valves are hanging open and the pistons are coming up and touching them. You can see this thing was kind of getting beat up to begin with. There it is, folks. Not a broken time chain. It is a sheared camshaft dowel pin. So upon further inspection, this dowel pin was getting its ass kicked. Look at this. Look how much wear is on the one side of that. So this just looks like it's a wear and tear thing. It's just bound to happen. Okay guys, there you have it. We broke a camshaft dowel pin. Nonetheless, the motor is really not hurt that bad. Take the motor apart, maybe get the pistons coated. You know, obviously we're gonna re-ring it and do some new bearings and check the block for cracks and check everything. And then we'll just, you know, we'll put it back together and probably put it back in the white car. But we definitely need to freshen it up regardless. If you can take anything from this video, guys, check your timing chain, especially if you're running your engine pretty hard. What you could do, pop off your distributor cap and watch the rotor. Put the 15/16 socket on the balancer and kind of see how much play is in your timing chain versus how much your rotor moves on your distributor, because all that's in time with each other. If there's something you could take from this video of me breaking the 408 motor, it's that. It's the fact that this timing chain needed replaced probably a year ago. Might have something to do with a little bit of the power loss that we've had. These 351 Windsor blocks are badass little motors. We were at 1,000 crank horsepower and probably are right around about 1150 torque to the crank on this production 351 block. We're gonna be out a little bit of time. We're gonna be out a little bit of money with the 408 stroker, but at least when we bring it out next year and we get it refreshed, it's gonna be a badass piece for the white car. I'll be excited to get it started again and, you know, let it make its comeback. But all right guys, that's pretty much all I got for you for this video. I hope you enjoyed me taking it apart. You guys enjoy this sort of content, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below, let me know what you guys think. Check out that join button, give something back to the channel, because I super appreciate all my channel members as they get the information first and they get videos early and get exclusive content to the channel. Outside of that, I appreciate everybody for watching, sticking around. Hope somebody got something from the video. If you did, leave me a comment below. See you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching.